I think that it should be a party. And I think that is part of the problem. People start with the sales and how do I make the sales? And it's not about that. It's about how do you make people feel? When you're hosting an event, this is no different than if you're having people over for a World Series party.
Hello, hustlers, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners, everybody out there trying to turn an idea into income. I want to welcome you to Serious Business, because it's serious, but it's not all that serious. Welcome to your weekly spot to get everything you need to know about making your business more profitable, but also having a lot more fun while doing it, because if this ain't fun, you shouldn't be doing it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Serious Business. You're here with Suzanne Evans and a lot of people today. We have, if you could see this is a little bit of clown car action. We are in a small office with a lot of people and 2 mics. So bear with us if there's some delays or some sound issues, or if someone just starts crying in the middle of this and doesn't want to participate.
Wow.
But what?
Wow. Like someone's going to cry during this.
Well, you almost cried on the last podcast.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. The lottery one, if you haven't watched that yet, be sure. When we killed her dreams.
Listen to it. They don't watch it.
I mean, Liz, if you didn't listen to it, the lottery podcast where we crushed her dreams and proved that she's not trying. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, welcome everybody. So actually, we have a lot of our team, Driven Inc. team, in the podcast closet today, because we want to talk a little bit about events, and we want to talk about what it takes to put on an event, and what it takes to fill an event, and what it takes to live through an event, and all of that. And one of the things we do really, really well is events. We do events really well. We do them really well because
didn't we do a podcast that was like, I don't do anything really well?
No, that's the team does this well. It's the team that does this well.
I'm just keeping us honest.
Yeah,
here.
Exactly. It's the team that does this well. So we do events really well, mainly because we do so many of them, which is kind of the point of the podcast about you don't have to be great at anything, just keep doing it. But we do a lot of events. Also, my background was theater. Melonie's background was theater. And so I love doing events. There are many shows.
She really does, y'all. She loves it.
But what is this turning into? She's so bitter about that last podcast, guys. I'm telling you. So it is like putting on a mini show. And when you put on a mini show, there's 3 components that have to happen. One is a show has to be created that people want to see. Number 2, you got to get people to come see it. And number 3, there has to be an outcome. In the theater, it's getting them to want to go to the next show or love that director or love that actor. In our industry, it really is about moving them, inspiring them, connecting them to wanting to take a next step with us to grow their business, to become a speaker, whatever it may be, as we do events that are sales events, which invite people to join our products, programs, or services. So the first thing you have to do is you have to create an event that people want to come to. So who we have today is we have Allie in with us, who does our PR and a lot of community outreach and a lot of booking me for speaking. We have David, who's the creative director of our Driven Digital division. We have Tyler, who is our creative director, who really designs, creates anything that is visual for the company. We have Bree, who is our marketing manager, who is really the filling the room falls into her department. And we have Brennan, who is our marketing assistant, who supports in the filling of the event. And a lot of, everybody is involved in a lot of on-site logistics. And Melonie doesn't really do anything because she's just off studying.
Right.
She's off
I'm in grad school.
Getting
my 4th degree.
Yes. Yep. Anyway. Yeah. Listen, this is a great tie back. You really need to listen to the If I Won the Lottery podcast.
Now's the time.
So I want to start with why, and David, I'm going to kick it to you with the film background that you have. How do you get people to want to see something? How do you get people to care about a storyline?
So that has a couple different answers. I think a pre-event video is much different. Pre-event video being something that somebody watches to make them want to come to an event is a little bit different than something that'll actually get played at the event. And we make a lot of both, but a pre-event video always has to end on an inspirational note of ideally We want people to feel like they can't not be at a place. Once somebody is at an event, you want to always go back to what emotion you want somebody to feel at that point of the event. Generally, we say it's either glad, mad, sad, scared. That's the 4 emotions.
Mainly, I just want people to be scared is what I'm aiming for.
Right. It is the Halloween season, and we are just trying to get anybody to feel something. It's not so much informational. It's more moving somebody to a point where they're ready to make change.
I think what's interesting about that, when a lot of people in the business space or the personal development space or an expert space want to put an event on, they think about sales, right? They think about, I want to do this event. And I have a client right now who says something very funny to me. She's doing her first event and she said, Suzanne, please help me make sure this doesn't turn into a really expensive party, right? She's like, I want to make sure that I have an end result and I have sales in mind. But the problem is, I think most people start with thinking about sales as opposed to start thinking about what would move a room, right? Why would people want to be in that room?
Well, they should be having an expensive party. I mean, that
is
wow. Okay.
That good.
is what it is. I mean, it should be
all that time studying in grad school. She can think of these things.
Yeah. When you have masters and doctorates like I do, you're able to really throw out some gems. The whole staff is totally confused.
They haven't listened to that podcast yet.
It's not really an inside joke. It's just a podcast that you need to listen to. But, I think that it should be a party. And I think that is part of the problem. People start with the sales and how do I make the sales? And it's not about that. It's about how do you make people feel? When you're hosting an event, this is no different than if you're having people over for a World Series party or a Sunday brunch. It is somebody coming into your home.
A Dungeons and Dragons party.
Yeah.
A Renaissance fair.
A Renaissance fair. Yep. Something like that. It really is about inviting somebody into your home, into your environment. So how does that roll out for them and what is their experience? And you have to constantly be thinking of it from the user's perspective.
And here's what I've always said. I throw an event that I want to go to and I hope other people enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I do things that I enjoy doing and I create things that I enjoy creating and hopefully other people want to come. Right. Mm-hmm. But that being said, that's kind of the creative, emotional side of an event. And I spend a lot of time walking people through vision and theme. Your vision is truly a concept, an idea, a storyline for that particular event. And your theme doesn't change a lot. Like our theme is we want people to leave richer than they came. That's our theme for a lot of our events. And it doesn't change that much because we want people to leave richer in relationships, leave richer in ideas, leave richer in income because they have a strategy. So that hasn't changed a lot over the last 10 years of us doing events, but we have a different vision for the event every single event so that there's a different story to be told. There's a different experience. There's a different ideas, if you will. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about logistical stuff. Let's talk about, I think the biggest thing people are scared of is how do you fill an event, right? How do you get butts in seats? So Allie's been here like a year now, right? And team, like they're
not
all,
even. She's even.
Not
she
even.
hasn't even been here for a year.
February 18th was my
so not a year. So like 9 months or so.
longest 2 weeks of my life. No.
The longest 2 weeks of being here?
No, I don't know. I just like to say I've been here 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks.
Post with that for
Should we?
Yeah, I'll repeat what she's saying. She said she likes to pretend like she's only been here 2 weeks. I don't notice how long anyone is here anymore. It's all the same to me. But I wanted to throw this out at you. And there's no right or wrong here, guys. This is honestly just conversation. So don't try to get the answer right. It's your answer. What have you learned about getting people into a room, right? In the experience, in the 2 weeks that you've been here, Allie?
Well, in my 2 weeks, it really has been for me, it's a juggle. It's a balance. It's getting to know persistence, building relationships and rapport. So a lot of people that I reach out to haven't heard of even Suzanne Evans or Driven Inc. So it's setting a lot of the foundation and just kind of building the rapport and then staying on top and contacting and just touching base. So over my 2 weeks, I've really built some strong relationships.
In 2 weeks, you guys can do it too. It's amazing.
That's all it takes. And then also just be prepared scared to be ignored also. That's kind of a thing. That's a big thing. Like for me, it hurt because I'm like America's sweetheart. And when people don't get back to me, it upsets me. But I had to learn to grow a thicker skin in these 2 weeks and just get over it.
I would not have thought that about you because you kind of seem like the weeble wobble of the group where somebody can knock you down and you just pop right back up and you're like, I'm going to keep going. So you don't show it a lot.
Oh, I'm elusive. Watch out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
In these 2 weeks, you've really gotten to know me well, Melanie.
I know. We're close. So yeah, no, I do think it is about, relationship building and just picking up the phone and calling. And I think that is one of the things that, Allie has done is cold called a lot of people and made sure that she got the word out there and just kept at it and stayed persistent.
And that's what we do. I mean, I think it's really key for an event like this is that we're on the phone a lot and you don't get a lot of people on the phone. So you're on the phone with yourself a lot. And then when you do get people, right, it's about building those relationships. So there's a few ways to move tickets. Obviously, you could go out and you can speak at events and then offer tickets. You can obviously move tickets online, which we do that as well. We hold webinars. We just do email promotions to move tickets as well. But I don't know, Bree, kick it to Bree for 1 second.
Yeah.
This is a guess, I know, but what would you say is a percentage, and Bree is our marketing manager, the percentage of people who come to our event from a phone call?
So I've actually pulled the numbers before we came into this because that's what I do. No, actually about, I'd say well over 60% are just from us calling them,
we're speaking to someone on the phone and we're calling them. I think that's really key to hear is that none of us in this room are, well, I know some people in this room think they are, but none of us in this room are Lady Gaga or, former President George Bush. There's not an immediate draw to just want to come, right, to an event just to see us or hang out with us. So you've got to have a reason for people to go, yes, I need to get a cat sitter, spend 3 days of my life at this event. And that usually takes a conversation. Great. Sometimes a sales page can do it. Sometimes an email, a webinar. But a lot of times if people are leaving their home and going to a hotel and going to live with you, quote unquote, for 3 days, they want to talk to somebody. They want to know this is a real company with real people and real connections. And so I think that's really critical to understand as you're filling a room is that it is not easy. It is not effortless. And it takes a lot of calling people. It takes a lot of calling people. So Brennan, I'm going to kick it to you for a second. You do a lot of calls as well. What do you think is the hardest part of filling a room that you have seen from just your perspective and being here how long have you been here?
I've been here since last April. So about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 weeks.
No, one thing that I have learned doing these calls is people need to be poked to be moved. And I'm not a person that likes to be poked a whole lot, so I had to get past that. Yeah. But when you talk to people and if you can build a relationship with them, and usually you do over those calls, then they can come to the event and...
Nobody does anything because they want to do it.
Exactly. They need to be...
That's 10 to 15% of our room. They're like, yep, absolutely, I want to be there, I want to do it. It's that great Donald Miller in his book says when you're developing character, Donald Miller's a brilliant writer and story teacher. He says that when you're developing a character never changes because they want to. They change because something forces them to, right? So in those conversations or in those webinars, it's poking the box a little bit of where are you? What do you need? Where do you want to be? Why aren't you there? And what if at this event or this experience, you could create that? Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So filling the room is a big thing. It is a huge thing. It is a challenging thing. And yet also when you get in a flow, and Bree, maybe you want to talk about this, it can be easy. Like we're filling an event right now Melanie doesn't want us to say anything. She's knock on wood. Do you guys want to hear a dream? This is a absolute true story. So first of all, I've had the craziest, I don't know if I'm like eating lettuce before I go to bed. They say that creates crazy dreams or something. A few nights ago, I dreamt that my family went to an aquarium with the Kardashians and North was Chloe's daughter instead of Kim's daughter, and North and Adrian climbed over an exhibit into an electrical eel pool, and so we were freaking out. I don't even know what an electric eel is. Like, is that a thing? What? It's a thing. It is.
Sure. Yeah, they're electrical eels.
Okay. So they
exist.
climbed into the pool. We're freaking out, and we got Adrian out, and they were all fine. And Adrian looked at me and he goes, "I drank the water." And I'm like, what does that mean? Do we need to take him to an emergency room? So this was my dream the other night. Last night, because we have been having a little bit of a challenge with our current event from the standpoint of we have oversold the event. And Bree never has any stress or anything at all. She's a very calm person who doesn't take anything to heart or take it home with her.
It's true.
And she's usually like, we got to fill this room. And now she's having to go home going, if we don't get some cancellations, there's nowhere for anyone to sit. And so we're very blessed in the situation that our room is way oversold and we're trying to solve this. But I dreamt last night that we'd had all these conversations about the room being way oversold. And you came in an alley and you were like, so just so you know, none of these phone numbers are real and none of the emails are real for anyone that's registered. So bots had filled the room like somehow. And then like everyone, it was like clear as day. Everybody was running around being like, these are all fake registrations. They're all fake. So you can do this 10 years and still be having nightmares about it. But so why do you think this event has been in flow? Do you have some ideas about?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a really strong call team. I think, you being out there is really helping connecting with people.
Allie's booked us a lot of in-person things so that we were face-to-face with people.
And I mean, the personal connections, again, back to our call team, we like to actually find out more about people. We're not just saying like, oh, you have to come to our event because you have to come to our event. We're like, you have to come to our event because this is how it's going to impact your business. And it's really just about tying that back into what's in it for them.
Absolutely. So makes it easier if you're spinning multiple plates, right? We're running webinars, we're running Facebook ad spend. Allie is booking us out into the world to actually speak and offer tickets. Then she and some other team members are actually going to some conferences and some events that tie into our event. Then we have a strong call team that's operating. Then we're doing email marketing and we're doing webinars. And so you want to be like, choose your 5 to 7 things that you can do really well and then spin all those plates at the same time, right? To fill a room. So then you get people there and they need to have an amazing experience if you do want them to love the party and take the next step with you. So that kind of is where Tyler comes in, who as creative director and creating a lot of visual elements. So Tyler, when you think about an event, because this will be your I want to say 6th or 7th event. Like if you count all the big events twice a year. When you think about an event that we put on now from an aesthetic standpoint, right? And a visual standpoint, what are you wanting an attendee to feel when they show up?
Well, I hate to be cheesy, but they need to walk into the room and they need to be wowed. Yep. It's got to be visually captivating. No one's going to want to walk into a room or an event where it's supposed to be life-changing and they're going to make some big decisions and they're trying to change something in their life where it's going to be boring. It's got to be visually stimulating. They got to be excited. We pump music through the room and we have the visuals going to excite everybody and to get them going.
And I would add something to it. It needs to be consistent. Haven't you been to events before where you're like, what is happening? This seems like branding chaos, right? Or this seems like visual chaos.
Yeah, everything's got to be the same. You have to get the flyer in the mail. You have to see the logo on the website. And when you get to the event, it's all got to look the same. You have to know that you are there at the right event. You can't.
That's always key, knowing you're at the right event. But you know what? Your point is actually really, really strong because you want the consistency to start from their first touch of, oh, I got a postcard in the mail or I went on the website. And you want them to, whatever that feeling was that got them to register, you want to amplify that feeling when they get in the room.
Yeah. And it's full circle. It goes from our call team to our website to the webinar that they popped on to hear Suzanne talk. And then they have to see it in person. They have to see that feeling, that energy that we give over the phone and over the webinars when they get there to the event.
Love it. Absolutely. And I think that is when we say that, that's everything from PowerPoint to, what's on the tables. And I also think people get really freaked out thinking everything's expensive. And you can do some amazing branding elements for seriously like dollars for dollars, and just giving everything a consistent look, having pops of color, pops of floral, if that's right for you, just small things. The other thing is really, really reusable. I mean, for a lot of time, for many years, we used an outside event company, and just the way we did things was everything was one and done, right? We printed all these materials, they would be thrown away. We printed all of these, banners or signs, and they would be thrown away. And we really moved to a model where we're trying to be able to create things that can be used for multiple events across multiple platforms. And that's good for two reasons. It's good for the budget. It's also good for the environment. In all honesty, I mean, we were throwing away. I remember being in Orlando, Florida, and getting in a van. I don't know why I was in a van. Oh no, we were in the car beside the vans, and there were 6 dumpsters. This was the year where some people were running late. I'll just put it that way. Some running late that morning. Some people had a rough night the night before, and there were 6 dumpsters across the back full of our signage. You know what I mean? And I just had this moment where I was like, that's all our right? Like that was 72 hours and done,
Yeah, and we just paid however many thousands of dollars for that, just for it to be thrown away in 3 days.
And some things get created that you can only use once. I mean, that happens, but I love that we're really going, let's take our feel, let's take our look, and how can we use this and replicate it over and over. So Mel, all right, let's jump to the running of an event. Now this could be a 27 podcast series, but my
knowledge is so deep.
Yes, for sure.
We could start a whole
No one else
podcast.
started that way, but sure. So we have used outside event companies for many, many years. We've done some in-house. We're getting ready to do an event right now.
Really in-house.
Yeah, it's really in-house. Melanie's doing it. And it just fell that way. But we can't say everything. But if somebody's running an event, maybe this is their first event, maybe it's their 10th event, but they just want to run better events. And Melonie is the master. Here's the thing. Even when we had outside event companies, they were doing the legwork, but Melonie has always been kind of the eyes and the ears and the ideas and the logistical brain that catches everything that none of us think about. So what's a few things people need to know about running a smooth event? Because a smooth event is a profitable event.
Yeah, they just have to be organized, and they have to have somebody who can really organize all the little tiny moving parts, because that's where people really mess up. And that's when we go to events and we see things that are sloppy. It's not that you have to get an outside event planner. It's that those people typically have a higher tendency to being organized.
And you may just not have a team member that can do it, or enough team to do it.
You may not have a team member who can do it.
You're just so free with the whole lottery thing, and you just not having anything else to do with your big win.
This is what I do. Yeah. I get degrees and I just plan events. But it really does just take somebody. It's literally running list. There's nothing magical or special about event planning. But you have to think through, like we said, if you were throwing a party in your home, think about the best party that you ever went to.
Wait, let's all think about that.
Take a moment.
Okay, hold on. Allie, best party you ever went to?
It's going to be happening. We haven't been to it yet, but it's Saturday night, Halloween party.
At your house? Yeah. All right, David, best party you've ever been to?
I think it was the night before that Orlando departure.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Goodness. No. Best party I've ever been to is Bob Smith's Miss America party. That's a good party. Tyler, all right. Let's say best party you've ever been to.
Best party I've ever been to. I probably don't remember it, unfortunately.
That makes sense. All right, Bree, best party you've ever been to.
I had a quinceañera, so
I was
that one.
Say, did you have? Wait, say it again. I interrupted you. But
I had a quinceañera, Sweet 15, so yeah, epic party.
But yeah.
I went to a Miley Cyrus concert in 2014 that I'll never forget.
I love it. All right, Melonie, best party you've ever been to?
Best party I ever went to was when we used to do our Miss America parties in New York City.
Okay, it was not a Bob Smith Miss America party.
These were different.
There was not a helicopter that flew in that a Michael Jackson impersonator
but they
came
were
out.
Extensive. We had books for Miss America so we could research.
We should do a Miss America party. There are people in this room that would appreciate it. Anyway, so best party you've ever been to.
Think about the best party you've ever been to and kind of the journey of that. And there were key moments. Now, I'm not talking about just it ended up being a drunken soiree where you have no idea what happened. I'm talking about like you went to some sort of function.
There were moving parts and there were
somebody
moments
thought
and there
through
was
moments. And so
experiences.
you literally have to go through a timeline and just think through all those things. And for Suzanne, part of that, the macro of that, she loves. The micro of that, she hates.
I don't want to know how they get
Yeah.
2,500 tiny paper clips into a Ziploc bag and hide them under the chairs. I just want it to happen on Thursday at 2:00.
Exactly. And so you have to have somebody who can focus on the macro experience and what that looks like and how that feels, and then someone who can focus on the micro. And micro experiences are what makes the event move along. And you have to kind of bust that out and make sure that you have a timeline. It's just lists. That's all it is.
List. So
Lots of
all
lists.
of that to be said to say, can you make a list and can you check it twice?
Yeah,
so
well, most people can't.
no,
That's
it's true.
the big deal.
It's
So-
true. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do our next podcast episode on sales at an event. How do you create an offer? How do you sell? How do you decide what you're going to offer folks? So on that note, I'll do that solo and we'll share that on our next podcast. So I'm going to ask that we run the room really quickly and say, if you are talking to our listeners and you know that maybe they're thinking about doing their very first event or they're wanting to improve their events, one piece of advice you would give.
Make Google your bitch. That's all I can say is they're the right resources, the right people, they're all out there. You just need to be creative on how you find them and connect with them.
Love it. David.
I think my central thesis is just make something people want to attend or make stuff people want to watch, and they'll do those things.
There you go. All right, Tyler.
I'd have to say you definitely get what you pay for. So if you want it to look good, it might cost a little bit of money.
Oh, good. I love that.
Remember that it's an investment for people to attend your event, so make sure it's an amazing experience.
Love it. Brennan.
Reach out to everyone you know, even the people that you don't think might come. They will.
Yeah.
They might.
Connect with everybody. Melanie, tip.
Write a list and check it twice.
Love it. Yeah, it's true. You cannot overlist. I think that is a message for life. So I love events. I think events are one of the most profitable strategies that you can use, but it's also one of the most fun strategies you can use. And it's a great way to connect with people. And listen, very few people don't love to go to a good party, right? And one that's well done. And that's really what an event is. So I'll talk to you next time about what to offer, what are next steps in an event, what do you do after an event. But hopefully you've gotten some good ideas, some questions, even some concerns. And you can always reach out to our team at help@driveninc.com. We do a lot of event consulting for folks. So we're happy to talk to you about your next event or talk to you about events in general. And I'll see you on the next episode where I'll talk to you about selling at events and what that looks like. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast, Serious Business. Please follow us on Instagram at The Driven Inc. and make sure to check us out on Facebook at Driven Inc. as well. Subscribe to this podcast. You don't want to miss a single episode, and tell a friend because good friends share good stuff. See you next week.